This is the Wunderlich Extreme skid plate for the R1200 GS. It's made out of 4mm thick anodized aluminum. It's got built-in strengthening swedges throughout, so it's a very strong, sturdy, robust piece to protect the underside of your R1200 GS. The most important feature, however, of this skid plate is the mounting system. We have this piece here, which is the undercarriage mounting system, which is made of 3mm anodized aluminum. And this is what it actually attaches to. And by using this intermediate piece, we're able to get large size rubber bumpers up taller to keep the ground clearance at a maximum. And it will also allow the plate to deflect without causing any damage to the engine. This has been tested by some very extreme riders around the world, and it's very highly regarded by many as being among the best skid plates available on the market today. Installation is rather straightforward. You begin by assembling this subcarriage, attaching the rubber mounts to it, and then it bolts to the engine in 5 spots. There's a bolt that goes across through the front here, 2 bolts at the front, 2 bolts at the rear, and once that's installed, the skid plate itself is attached. We highly recommend that you use thread locking fluid on all of the fastening points, and in particular here. These steel washers need to be placed at the mounting locations. And then start with 1 bolt here. Important to put thread locking fluid on the threads. Slide it into position and begin by starting the first screw. Now follow through with the rest of them, placing locking fluid on all of the bolts. Now, the importance of the locking fluid is to keep the bolts into the rubber mounts. Utilize the locking fluid and rely on the locking fluid to keep the bolts in. Don't try to over-torque them, because if you do, you'll have a hard time getting the bolts out in the future. It will be necessary to take the plate off, or I should say you'll want to take the plate off when you change the oil. Otherwise, you'll make quite a mess with this plate installed. So that's really the most important bit of advice here, is that thread locking fluid. Once you've got all the screws snug, then just go through and apply a light torque. Once that thread locking fluid dries, it'll do its job of retaining the fasteners. And it'll easily break free when it comes time to remove the plate for routine maintenance. And that is the Extreme Engine Protection Plate from Wunderlich.